Continuing coverage of the terror in Paris. It's good to see all these vocal free speech supporters, many of whom were silent when Hirsi Ali, Condoleezza Rice, and others were kept from speaking on campuses. I suppose you only express solidarity when it's cool and there's a neat hashtag. But as we know, one aids terror by blocking speech through the fabrication of offense. We must fight evil, but what happens when the fight is labeled as bigoted by the media, the campus, our leaders? Terror wins. And so CNN's Christiane Amanpour calls terrorists activists. I'm really not kidding.
On this day, these activists found their targets, and their targets were journalists. This was a clear attack on the freedom of expression, on press, and on satire.
What? Anyway, and editors worry more about right-wing reaction to terror than terror itself.
I think that they should have been more sensitive. I don't believe in gratuitously offending people. We have to be really, really careful not to respond to the extraordinary intolerance of these jihadis with our own intolerance.
I think we have to be just as worried about the reaction to the attack from nationalists, from right-wingers, from people who have sought to drive this wedge, as it was described earlier, between the Islamic communities and the mainstream communities in Europe.
I get it. The enemy is preordained. It's us. Which means Howard Dean is right. This is a cult of apologists. But Dean is also right when he says this is not a religious issue. Which means if I don't see Islam when I fight terror, then you cannot see Islamophobia when I fight it. What should we see instead? Again, a death cult. One that needs no understanding, just eradication. It would be nice for moderate Muslims to help, but if they don't, we can handle it. It's nothing personal, Muslims. Just step aside. Finally, where did this cult learn to punish language? From the Quran? From Al-Qaeda? How about Harvard? And our modern cult of hate speech activists who see language as violence, creating speech codes with penalties. Seeing activists silence critics so easily must make them drool with envy. All right, KG, is it time to retire the phrase Islamophobia? Because it's inherently meaningless. There is a fear of a religious belief.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I mean, it's a non-starter. It's not helping forward the intelligence we're gathering. It's not helping the understanding of what terror really is. And the problem is we are the biggest enemy. The liberal apologists, the people that are more concerned about offending terrorists than they are in eradicating them. That makes us weak and therefore makes them strong. That is a big problem that has to be addressed. I mean, those are all clips that were being played across the country today. Afraid to call them terrorists, call them activists.
They were all clips that we picked out for this show. They're all liberals. And the fact of the matter is there's not been a conservative member in Europe who has raised their voice against this. The conservatives have been as mute on this, and the liberals have been wusses. I grant you that.
But David Cameron, every British leader.
Show me what Mitch McConnell has said about this.
Look, I can name more members of
you did name it to me that nasty letter you said.
Yes, I could go on forever.
But the idea that somehow
did you mean Mitch McConnell's floor speech from the Senate yesterday?
Yes, I did see it.
You did?
I didn't hear the word Islamic terrorist out of it.
Counting it?
That's your debate.
I didn't hear the word Islamic terrorist.
All right. Well, Bob, right now the left is leading the charge against free speech on campuses through speech codes and hate speech. It's not Republicans. And you have liberal comedians, Patton Oswalt, Bill Maher, Chris Rock, are all talking about this. Right-wingers aren't coming up with the speech codes and the hate speech. It's liberals who make a living with words who are now seeing this as a problem. It's not just me. Eric, it seems like only there's a backlash. The backlash is when the tolerance freaks go after the victims of attacks. It's like they're worried about the attacker.
And you hit on it, David Brooks hit on it earlier today. You guys are 100% right. The people who, at Brandeis University, Rutgers, Harvard, Berkeley, this year alone, who've killed free speech, who've actually had people disinvited to speeches that they were going to make on their campuses, align more closely with the terrorists in Paris than they do with the people from Charlie Hebdo.
I try not to brag on myself. But when I
wait, hold on,
killing Christians,
Bob.
I didn't hear people around the table
talking about you. I'm talking about the left.
What are you saying? That is not
But
true
then
at
they
all.
want to go ahead, and then these same people want to go ahead and wear these pins and tweet, Je suis Charlie, I am Charlie. No, you're not. You're not. You're the opposite. You're more Al-Qaeda than you are Charlie. Bob, okay, you take on Muslims,
Well, you didn't
but
really
where are
mean
the
that,
people
right?
in charge?
You didn't really mean that.
What?
You didn't mean to say that they're like Al-Qaeda more than...
Well, I'm talking about the people who kill free speech, who have Hirsi Ali not speak, who have Condi Rice not speak because they don't line up with their ideology. They have them thrown off campus rather than hearing the First Amendment free speech that they have to deliver.
Okay. Okay.
And they're what?
I'm just trying to prevent backlash.
Oh, the backlash.
Yes.
You know what's, let me get Dana in here. Christiane Amanpour, is that how you say it?
Christiane.
Referred to terrorists as activists, which is, I can't believe. But then CNN reporter Chris Cuomo referred to the black French terrorists as African American. Is this what happens when political correctness is so ingrained in your head that you make idiotic...
So we remember that because they had a huge international audience.
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear a darn thing because they're yelling in my ear. So TGIF.
Yeah.
I have that.
Yes, yes.
My last word.
See, they're saying gotta go.
Oh, now I can hear them.
Yeah, okay. Next, one very